Live streaming. I'm just making sure it's up and running. Yes. Okay, we are live streaming on Facebook, on YouTube, all over the place. And today, for Members Night, we actually have the pleasure of having Dr. Johnathan Glass, who has presented for us numerous times. And he has run, to my knowledge, about 3 events for Numi Corporate so far on different aspects of organs in the body and the importance of glutathione, and of course, the world's greatest delivery method for glutathione, which is hydrostat through Numi. You're going to hear more about that as well. But this will form part of a playlist, just so we're clear. I'm going to show you right now that we already have the playlist ready to run today. And this, at the end of the event, you'll be able to click this and you'll be able to share it, including today's event. So here is an example of it on the YouTube channel, the Numi Efficient YouTube channel. You're able to go to playlists, click that, and have his events to play back, not just on today's heart health, but also on multiple organs. And we'll continue to add this as we go. And Irene, in answer to your question, yes, that's what I was just saying. We are recording this live stream on YouTube and it'll be able to be played back. So if you don't know, Dr. Johnathan Glass, as I've mentioned, is a friend of Numi, a gentleman that knows a lot about glutathione and the body. And he's also the author of The Total Life Cleanse. So with that in mind, I'm going to hand the whole event to you. Over to you. And you need to unmute Johnathan Glass.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I always enjoy the opportunity to speak about health in general, about glutathione, and of course, our amazing product. So tonight, I'm going to be speaking about the heart and the cardiovascular system and how glutathione in particular benefits the cardiovascular system. I am a acupuncturist and Ayurvedic practitioner and a naturopath. So I look at things from different angles. So I'm going to touch on some of the broader perspectives of the heart and the cardiovascular system so that we can have a deeper understanding of how this system works and also the incredible power of glutathione and its importance. So, you know, most people understand the heart as a pump, and it is. You know, when you breathe in, that the oxygen, the air goes into your lungs. The lungs do their job of separating out the oxygen, putting it into the blood. Then it goes to the heart, and the heart pumps it out to the body. And then the venous blood returns to the heart. And then that blood is sent to the lungs, gets oxygenated again, then goes back to the heart through the other ventricles, and then it keeps going. So it pumps it back out again. So it's an amazing ongoing system that's keeping us alive. And I mean, what is the heart doing? What is the blood doing? It's circulating all important blood, which is carrying oxygen and nutrients and hormones to each and every cell of the body. So it's a very intricate system. And one thing that we always want to remember, that all these systems in the body are totally connected and integrated. You know, many people will go to this specialist or that specialist, and that's okay. But the truth is, everything is so interconnected. Very rarely is it just one system that's gone awry and the other systems are perfect. It's a whole integrated system, which brings us to the incredible importance of glutathione, is that it impacts each and every system of the body. But tonight we're going to talk especially about the heart and the cardiovascular system. So one of the things, and one thing I want to touch on, in ancient medicine, it's understood that the heart is the home of something called Shen. Shen is like the consciousness of the human being. It's where where we're awake, where we're alive, where we can think, we can be aware, we can be conscious. The heart in Chinese medicine and Eastern medicine also is the organ that holds the emotion joy. Every single organ is impacted physically, mentally, and emotionally. So the heart holds joy. Like, for example, the liver holds anger, the lungs hold grief, the heart holds joy. So it's a very, very important organ. It's considered the emperor of all the organs, and it's also considered that each and every organ in the body serves the heart. The heart is the most important organ in the entire body. And scientists, as of recent, have discovered that the energy of the heart is even more bioelectrically powerful than the brain. It used to be thought that the brain conducted the most energy in the body, but actually the heart conducts the greatest amount of energy and emits the greatest amount of energy. Just like somebody has a big heart and they walk into a room, everybody feels it. So you really want to do, we want to do everything we can to support the heart with healthy diet, healthy lifestyle, working on ourselves spiritually, emotionally. All these things will benefit the heart. So these are all things that are very, very important, independent of any products or anything like that. So it's essential. But now let me get into a little bit about the cardiovascular system. Okay, so glutathione helps to protect the endothelium lining of the blood vessels. And what does that mean? So all the blood vessels of the capillaries, the veins, the arteries, they have an inner lining. It's almost like a smooth surface, and it is so important. It's the inner lining where the blood flows through. When that inner lining becomes injured, and it can become injured, how does it become injured? It becomes injured by oxidation. So when that inner lining is damaged, is irritated, is inflamed, maybe some of you have heard high homocysteine levels, high C-reactive proteins, sometimes blood work comes like that. From that, that is an indication that the endothelial lining of the blood vessels is getting irritated. So it can be if these markers are very high, it could be considered quite dangerous. So what does glutathione do? One of the most powerful things that it does, it protects that lining from oxidative damage. Okay, so what is oxidation? We'll keep it very simple. It's like if your blood vessels become rusty, irritated, and inflamed, that becomes a big problem. Okay, one of the very important things that the endothelial lining does is that it emits, or it creates something called nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is a very, very important molecule, secondary to glutathione, but it's extremely important. There's products out there that help you make more nitric oxide, but they don't necessarily do much to protect the lining. That lining is where we make the most amount of nitric oxide. What does nitric oxide do? It helps to signal the blood vessels to open and contract appropriately. Okay, so for example, some people might have high blood pressure because of low levels of nitric oxide and because of damaged endothelial linings, so the blood vessels can't relax. They can't open. They're not fluid. They're not flexible. They're meant to be, smooth and open and flowing. These blood vessels, when that inner lining becomes damaged, everything becomes tight. Okay. One of the other things that it does, it helps with preventing cholesterol from oxidizing. So we hear a lot about cholesterol these days, like so-called good cholesterol, so-called bad cholesterol. There's really no such thing as bad cholesterol. We all need cholesterol to make healthy cells. The problem is when cholesterol becomes oxidized. It becomes sticky and thick and clumpy in the blood vessels. That's when it's a problem. So glutathione helps to prevent the oxidation of cholesterol, which is extremely important. Glutathione also protects the mitochondria of the cardiac muscle from oxidation. Okay, the mitochondria are it's like the engines of the cells, It's the engine of the muscle tissue of the heart. When that becomes damaged, then the electrical circuitry of the heart doesn't function as well. The muscle fibers don't work as efficiently, and they don't respond as appropriately as they should. So due to oxidation, damages the tissue, damages the engines of the cells, and therefore the heart muscle also can become damaged. Glutathione is foundational and so important to protect the mitochondria of all the cells of the body. But of course, the heart is a muscle. So it protects the heart muscle itself. Okay. Again, one of the things that that glutathione does also is that it prevents atherosclerosis, okay, which is a damaging of the lining of the blood vessels. It also manages the inflammatory and anti-inflammatory aspects of the whole body, including the immune system. So sometimes what happens is the body will go into a state of inflammation, maybe for a good reason, but then it doesn't calm down properly. Glutathione helps to regulate that. Now, in terms of the immune system, which we will talk about in another event, many times, for example, people can get the flu or get some other kind of illness, and their immune system kicks on, it inflames, and that's supposed to happen. But it also is meant to calm down appropriately when the virus has been handled. For example, in many cases, due to chronic inflammation and due to lack of glutathione, that inflammation or that regulation of the inflammation and decreased inflammation aspects of the immune system and the cardiovascular system, that doesn't happen. So glutathione is essential for that regulation. In fact, glutathione is essential for practically every function of the body's ability to regulate. It enhances what we call the body's innate intelligence. Without glutathione, the body doesn't think very well. It doesn't respond appropriately. You know, like in life, all the time, every single day, we're being called to act and react, respond to a stressor. How do we deal with it? How do we manage, that particular challenge in each day, whether it's a conversation, whether it's a challenge at work, whether it's, what do I deal with my kid? How do I manage a situation? How do I deal with a teacher? So many different things. We have to adapt constantly. So if we can think of glutathione as the master antioxidant, and that's what it is, that helps the whole body manage and it's a foundation of how we manage the different stressors of life. Okay. One of the other thing that it does, it helps maintain healthy platelet activity. And that means, sometimes we want the blood to clot. If someone gets a cut, you want it to clot. And sometimes you don't want it to clot. There's different. So glutathione helps give the body the right tools and information it needs in order to clot appropriately and not clot when it's not meant to clot. So it's all this managing. It's very, very powerful. Okay. Now, I'm going to bring in the liver a little bit because it's very much connected to the heart. In fact, in Chinese medicine, the liver is considered the mother of the heart. That's how they see it. So if the liver is healthy and happy, then guess what? The child will be healthy and happy, the heart. The child of the liver's heart. Liver, one of the things that liver does, it stores iron. Okay. And guess what? We all know how important iron is. Without iron, we can't carry oxygen throughout the body. Iron is essential. But when the liver is toxic or inflamed or has fatty liver or has some kind of issue, which is very, very common these days due to the over 80,000 chemicals in the environment, poor diet, too much alcohol, poor food, lack of exercise, lack of good breathing, so many things. all the junk food, at least in America, I know, the processed food, processed grains, herbicides, pesticides, so many things. The liver can become stressed and it can become inflamed. So then what happens, what the liver is meant to do, it's meant to, in a healthy way, release stored iron into the blood so that the blood can carry iron. Without iron, again, we don't have enough oxygen. And this is the function of the blood. And then the relationship of the heart that pumps that blood and brings those oxygen molecules to all the cells to create energy. Okay? So when that liver's inflamed, it holds on to the iron. It doesn't release it appropriately. Partly because, foundationally because, the body's lacking sufficient amounts of glutathione in order to help that process happen, and because the body hasn't cleared toxins efficiently. Why? Because of lack of glutathione and because of us doing silly things with our bodies over the years and stressing it and challenging it with too many chemicals and toxins, like I mentioned. And many people will then get blood work and they'll say, oh, I'm low in iron. This is terrible. I just need to take iron and I'll feel so much better. But it's like a Band-Aid. What happens often is that people will temporarily feel better. My iron supply has come up a little bit, but the problem is if the liver is still suffering or stagnant or toxic, then what happens is we start getting more iron stored in the liver. And what does iron do? If you take an iron nail and put it outside in the rain, it becomes rusty. So now all that stored iron in the liver oxidizes, becomes toxic, puts more stress on the liver. And now we have an even more stressed liver due to too much stored iron, and that iron's not getting out into the blood. So the liver heart connection is so important. So I'm always gonna shout out to do whatever you can do to detoxify your life. Now, there's nothing perfect in this world. There's really nowhere we can go where there are no toxins. But what we can do is eat as clean as we can, sweat when we can, do some exercise, take good care of yourself. Yes, enjoy your life, but have some regulation. If you like to have a glass of wine, figure out what works for you, once or twice a week. If you're a person that's doing alcohol every night, just assume you better support your liver because you're going to be putting some stress on it. Some people can handle it better than others. So my point being, we want to support the body. We want to support our glutathione system. If we're constantly toxifying our system, all the glutathione that we're making, a lot of that is going to be just cleaning up the trash. Rather than creating wonderful energy, creating mental clarity, creating healthy blood, creating, good feelings in our heart, creating healthy cardiovascular system, creating healthy blood vessels, creating that healthy endothelial lining, like I mentioned, creating a situation where the nitric oxide can really do its job. So ultimately, glutathione helps the heart function optimally, helps it support circulation, and from the Chinese or ancient wisdom perspective, what else is it doing? It's helping us have a clear mind, clear emotionally. It literally helps us feel joy in our life. This is the heart. The heart, again, holds the emotion of joy. Joy is a God-given birthright of human beings. So if we remove some of the burden from the body, just like many of us who use this product, there's a percentage of everyone that uses this product that to some degree just feel a little happier. Maybe nothing's really changed. I just feel a little better. I just feel a little more mentally clear. In some cases, a lot more, but there's a sense of well-being. That has a lot to do with creating a healthier cardiovascular system, a healthier liver. I mean, the liver holds creativity, but it also holds frustration and anger. And when the liver becomes toxic, it becomes even more frustrated. And then we feel pent up, we feel frustrated. So this beautiful connection between the liver and the health of the liver and the health of the heart and the cardiovascular system is very, very important. So having sufficient glutathione levels and minimizing our toxic burden literally leads to more emotional calm, better mindset, better consciousness, a clearer consciousness, energetic balance, and yes, even more joy in life. Okay. So these are not cute little new age ideas. Okay. These are physiological realities. So again, the emphasis, we do our part. I'm not talking about perfection. I'm not, some people are, very, very intense about, doing everything perfectly. I don't want anybody to feel like they have to be a perfectionist, but we can certainly minimize the amount of toxins that we're exposed to. And the truth is, sometimes giving people this product, and a month later, they feel a little better. In some cases, a lot better. Sometimes that's enough to inspire them to then say, you know what, clean up your diet a little bit. Go out for a walk every day. Move the body. Start doing some things that you love in life again. Get re-inspired. And this product literally, I've seen it with people, just brings people to another level of well-being. So it's super important in that way. Okay. So one of the things that this product will also, or I shouldn't say this product, that glutathione does, is that it helps with feeling like a low resilience to life, an inability to deal with the stressors of life. If we don't have sufficient glutathione supplies, we won't be able to adapt to the stressors of life. When we have sufficient amount, it feels like I can handle this better. I can deal with this better. This is the amazing benefit of glutathione. It's so vast, really. It's so vast. What glutathione is the master antioxidant. It is I personally like to call it, the God antioxidant. It's the master antioxidant. It does so many things. Without it, we cannot survive. So now I just want to touch on this incredible product. Okay. So we've heard some things about glutathione. We've heard about how it impacts the heart, the blood vessels, the circulation, oxygenation, healthy liver, healthy iron supplies in the body. Okay. We've heard about that. So why is this product so interesting and important? Okay. And, many of us have heard this, but it's true. The delivery of glutathione is very difficult. It's been very difficult. It's been a mystery. It's been a challenge for many, many years. There were capsules, reduced glutathione, this, that, whatever. It really doesn't work. Even in your Beth Health food stores, they'll have glutathione. It'll be quite expensive in a capsule. It really doesn't do hardly anything. Okay. And then we have N-acetylcysteine, which actually, it's good. It's a building block for glutathione. It has its benefits, no doubt. And then we have liposomal. Liposomal, interesting concept. The idea is that the lining of the cells have a fatty coating. So you add fat to it and you have to put the glutathione on there and it meets the cell wall. And yes, but you know what? Has to get through the stomach, has to get through the small intestine, has to get into the bloodstream, has to then get all the way to the cell, has to get on the cell wall. It just stays there. And now it has to somehow or other get into the cell. The cell itself, the energy of the cell has to pull that glutathione in order to make that work. It's a long process. It's an arduous journey from a liposome to get into the cell wall. In fact, the molecular size of that glutathione and that fatty coating is bigger than the actual size the glutathione is meant to get into the cell. So the benefit and blessing of this product is that the nanoparticle size is so minute, and this is the technology, the Nutristat technology, hydrostat technology, is so remarkable. It literally, the nanoparticle of the glutathione is enveloped in a water envelope. Now, this is a proprietary technology. I have my speculations of what's actually happening, but it's just a speculation because I don't know exactly what's happening. I know the water is more pure than the water in a intravenous in the hospital. It's ultra purified water. I've done a lot of research on different types of water throughout the years. Water has different amounts of surface tension. There's all kinds of different waters out there. This water is very unique. It creates an envelope. It prevents the nanoparticles from clumping up again. If you just take powdered glutathione and put it in tap water, guess what? All those particles of glutathione will just come together and clump together. Now you have a big clump of glutathione. In this product, each particle is kept separate in a water envelope, which is then able, if we swish it in our mouth for a while, right? Keep it in your mouth. I know the bottle says about 30 seconds. I usually like to keep it in my mouth a minute, 2 minutes. I get up in the morning, put it in my mouth, putz around, feed the dog, do this, do that, get some things done. And by then it's usually in my mouth for 2 minutes. And sometimes there's not that much of the swish still in my mouth. A good amount of it actually absorbs in, and then you swallow it. And yes, you'll get some other benefits. So it gets right into the bloodstream. Yes, it's forced diffusion. Thank you, Christine, rather than passive diffusion. So it gets passively, just gets right into the cell, bypasses the digestive tract, gets right into the cells, the white cells, the red blood cells, everything gets right in there and does its job immediately, supporting the mitochondria, supporting the energy producing engines of the cell, detoxifying the cell, promoting healthy nutrient transfer in the cell. So it's a remarkable, remarkable technology, which I think is a godsend for the times that we're living in right now, because we are so exposed to so many chemicals, so many herbicides, so many pesticides, so many heavy metals. I mean, without glutathione, we can't get rid of heavy metals, cadmium, arsenic, lead. Without glutathione, we can't get rid of herbicides, pesticides, plastics. Okay, without glutathione, we can't we can't manage the free radical damage that comes from wireless technology. All the Wi-Fi and this G and that G, it impacts us. It causes oxidation. And again, oxidation is like rust to the tissues or rust to the cells. So this product at this time in history is a super important product. It's a super important product to purify, to cleanse, to energize. And without glutathione, oxygen can't properly attach to the red blood cells. Okay, so it's so important. It's so important. So it has that function. So this product is so special because of its delivery systems. Nothing else that I know of. I've never used glutathione in my practice until I came along with Numi. I did use N-acetylcysteine because it was better than a glutathione product. Okay, but now, as some of you may know, the new Numi Swish has an increased amount of cysteine, which helps to recycle the glutathione. And this product works even better. It'll last longer in the body. It'll do more. It'll help the situation. And it'll do what N-acetylcysteine is designed to do. So we're really getting the best. This product helps the body make glutathione and recycle it and make sure it lasts longer in the system, and it's giving us the actual glutathione itself in a way that no one else can do. The other thing that I acknowledge is that if I was told that I could only use one product in my practice, if okay, you have to make a choice, only one product, it would be this product. It would be this product. And the reason is because it does so many things. It's foundational. It covers every single base you could ever imagine. Now, yes, if someone has parasites, if somebody has a fungal infection, if somebody has this or that or whatever, in my practice now, of course, I'll use different things when it's appropriate. But if I only could use one thing, it would be this product. Because I know eventually what will happen when the body has sufficient glutathione, eventually the body will then be able to create the energy and tap into the body's God-given innate intelligence to function in a way that it can heal itself. The body is a self-healing mechanism, and if it has the energy to do it, it can do amazing things. So if we do our part, remove some of the stressors, the bad foods, the chemicals, the toxins, the junk food, removing those things, doing some healthy lifestyle activities, and taking this product, amazing things can happen. So I think I'll leave it here, and we will talk down the road a little bit more about the immune system and the pancreas and other organ systems, and how I'd like to do a talk sometime of how all the organs are connected and how glutathione works with each and every organ system. We'll do one of those at some point too. So thank you very much. Hope you found some of this interesting, helpful, inspiring. So take your product. Last thing I'll say is don't be shy about sharing this with anybody, because anybody and everybody can benefit from this product.
Wow, beautiful. Thank you, Dr. Johnathan Glass. Every time you come on and do an event, we have rave reviews. And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you're on here for the first time today and someone has invited you, go back to them and ask for any questions you need answering. For those newbie members who are on right now, just letting you know, as I said earlier, after this event, give me about 20 minutes, and through the app, I will send you out a link directly to this playlist where you'll have today's event and the other 3 events that we've already done so far, which means you'll be able to share the wisdom of, I love how someone put it, the masterclass of glutathione and its importance. Final thing I want to say too is, from my perspective, you said something in this meeting that really hit me right here. When I saw glutathione the first time was 18 years ago when I met Steve Scott through his previous company, and I had done 0 for my personal health. But as soon as you get on glutathione, then all the other things come into play. And today, turning 58 soon, feel the healthiest I've ever felt in my entire life, but I do have the luxury that I've been using the nano-sized glutathione through this company from way back when we found the investors 8 years ago. So those people are looking at it for the first time. There isn't another product in the market as inexpensive and as effective in this particular space. Now, for those people who are watching online, we're going to bid you goodbye, but you're missing out if you're not in the Zoom room or you're watching the playback. A, you missed the special announcement about our Diamond Retreat. It was only live. You needed to be here live. And B, you'll have to wait till next week for that. And B, in addition to that, you are going to miss some of these testimonials. We're going to ask now if people would like to share their testimonials. So let me just stop the